Dope shit like that, Jerm. Oh, hi. Welcome back to Kiss. Follow your dreams. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the For the Love of the Game podcast. I think this is episode 5, and we are here to preview what's happening in week 2.
Yes. Very excited. Weekend 2 coming up. We have lots of midweek games this week, some upsets in there that we want to talk about, some fun series coming up this weekend as well. I will say we've got to touch on this. We really wanted to go live today. We have previewed things, like we thought it all figured out. No. I guess YouTube, it takes 24 hours to get your account going and ready. So unfortunately that will not be happening today. But on the bright side, this will be our first episode that video will be up. So you can listen on Spotify for the podcast, or you can go to YouTube and watch us live as well. Well, not live, but you know what we mean. You can watch us, see our faces as well. So it'll be fun.
It'll be a great new journey for us. As we've said before, we are learning, and this is a learning experience. So unfortunately, It didn't work today. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to do more lives, and the videos will start being posted onto YouTube as well.
Exactly. Yes. And we didn't say, but I'm sure you guys know, Paige is coming from Frisco, Texas, and I'm still in Hawaii. I'll be here for 5 to 6 more days, but then we'll be back to our normal places, Salem and Frisco. So that's where we're at today.
Yes. Also in today's news, we know that we are recording as Oregon State is playing.
Yes.
So the current score of that game is 4-1 in the second. So we will keep posted with updates, but Oregon State is up 4-1 right now.
Yes. So super exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
Let's kick it off. And as always, we will kick it off with UT because Texas is still ranked number 1 after beating Rice 3-0 last weekend. This week, they played Texas A&M Corpus Christi down at the beach. Their first game on Tuesday night was handled quite easily, 12-0, but the second game was much closer with a 5-4 finish. A lot of the midweek games this week were either really close, like a ranked team and an unranked team, but somehow still super close, or there were a lot of upsets. There were some upsets from some ranked teams by unranked teams. So we will definitely talk about those as we go through the pod.
Yes.
But looking forward to this weekend. Texas has a 3-game series against Alabama at home. And I'm really excited for this just to see Texas play one of the SEC teams since they will be moving into the SEC pretty soon here.
Definitely. And then we have number 2, Arkansas. They're ranked 2nd after finishing last weekend 2-1 in a series against Illinois State. So they took the series, but they did have one loss to Illinois State. They had no midweek games this week as well. So they are rested going into this weekend, which they're going to be in a tournament in Round Rock, Texas. They're going to play Indiana. Unranked team should be pretty easy matchup. We'll see, though. And then what I'm excited about, or we should all be excited about, is number 6, Stanford. So that should be a great game Saturday. I'm really looking forward to that. And then Louisiana, who also an unranked team, but they upset Irvine in 2 games last weekend. So I think this tournament should be super fun to watch.
I agree.
Arkansas, number 2. It's always good baseball. So
I agree. I think if you're in Central Texas or South Texas, anywhere close to that, you should definitely drive and go. I'm even thinking about doing it from all the way up here because it just would be a good game to watch and a good game to see. So on that Saturday, go watch. You're watching a number 2 team play a number 6 team. You're practically in Omaha. Go watch.
Practically. Yes. And if you're not close by, freaking tune in. These games should be streamed. So
somewhere.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Yes.
All right. Then we have Ole Miss, who finished with all 3 wins last weekend, beating Charleston Southern. They did have a midweek game versus Arkansas State, which they won off a 10-run rule in the 5th inning. The final score was 15-5. So good for Ole Miss. They're coming out strong. They're looking very dominant. I don't expect that to change this weekend, as they will have a 3-game series at home just against VCU. So you never know with baseball, we say, but I'm pretty confident after how Ole Miss came out looking and what they're doing that they should be able to get this series.
I think so too. Absolutely. Then we have number 4, Oklahoma State, who was pretty hot last weekend, beat Vandy in their 3-game series. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for Oklahoma State to see what they do this weekend. Sad about Vandy. We already touched on that. They did lose, though, this week in their midweek game to Sam Houston on Tuesday night in extra innings, which sucks. That happens, though. Paige and I were talking about midweek games sometimes are just toss-ups. You could be playing a really easy team. It's baseball. There's no real such thing as an easy team. But, yeah, so they're coming off of a sad loss midweek. But this weekend they're going to be playing Wright State at home. I think this gives Oklahoma State a chance to come back, get an easy 3-game sweep. But we'll see. But this weekend should be pretty doable for Oklahoma State against Wright State.
I agree, and they need it. I mean, a loss to Sam Houston State, that's hard. They're down here, so it'll be their first time at home this weekend, and it'll be exciting for them. The weather's not so great, so they did change their series to be a Saturday-Sunday with a doubleheader on Sunday. So hopefully it warms up for them. Hopefully it gets nice, and they can take this one because they will be going into this series 2-2, and I'm sure hoping to leave with a 5-2 record.
Exactly.
That'll be super exciting for Oklahoma State, though. However, speaking of Vandy, who Oklahoma State beat this last weekend, Vandy is ranked 5th now because of their losses to Oklahoma State. But I think they will be looking for some redemption, and they kind of showed that this week. In their midweek games, they beat Evansville 9-0 on Wednesday. They were also supposed to have a game Tuesday night against North Alabama, but I'm telling you, there is crazy weather going on down here. So that game was postponed. This weekend, Vandy is playing Army at home in a 3-game series. So definitely a much easier team than Oklahoma State. They'll still be at home. I think that they can wrap this one up.
I think they can too. Yeah. Still will be fun baseball to watch. Yes. I was telling Paige, I was like, Army is like the football team. I haven't seen their baseball team play. So I'll be interested in watching this game just to see what they got, what kind of baseball program they have. So then going into our next, number 6 ranked Stanford, one of our faves. So they beat Fullerton this last weekend, 2 out of the 3 games. Came into their midweek game super hot, beat Santa Clara 5-0. So they're going into this weekend with 3 wins under their belt. And like we mentioned earlier, they're in the tournament with Louisiana, Arkansas, and Indiana. So will be fun games to watch. And like we said, that Arkansas game, especially on Saturday, is one that everybody should tune into.
Definitely. All right. Then our defending national champions, Mississippi State, they lost their opening series to Long Beach State this weekend. So kind of rough to be coming back as defending national champs and then just get that taken away from you. But they did win their midweek game against Arkansas Pine Bluff 17-1. So I think they are here. They're ready to play. And they will be having their first series at home with Northern Kentucky. Why did I say first series? They look to win their first series. My bad. They're looking to win their first series, not to play their first series. My Atlanta.
Yes. And not to be biased, I feel like we always get to this point in the podcast where we like hit teams that like, I'm like, oh, I'm really excited to talk about. And we're here. Number 8, LSU. So we told you guys earlier in the week, they swept Maine in their opening series. Great opening series for LSU. But on Wednesday night, they played Louisiana Tech at home. And Paige, what happened against that game? Well, yeah, you explain. Because they started out pretty strong, pretty great against.
Well, actually, they kind of started out not super strong. So it's like I said, it's cold down here. Like I'm home for a snow day today. It's freezing. So last night they're playing in like 30-degree weather, just not really common for some Louisiana teams. So they're playing in 30-degree weather, not 30, but like in the 30s, like probably 36. And it's raining, it's cold. You can just tell, like, as I'm watching them play, like, their breath is just, it looks miserable. But Louisiana Tech took an early 5-0 lead. Like, they came out and Miller said, all right, LSU. So I was like, dang. But LSU really looked like they were coming back. They had started closing the gap, made it 5-4. They had excellent pitching by Coleman. But in the bottom of the sixth, Louisiana Tech said not too soon and not too quick. And they started to come back and ended up taking that game from LSU 11-6.
Yeah.
Definitely a rough game for LSU there.
That's just a rough midweek game, especially like a Wednesday night game. I don't know. And then you just gotta, but I mean, like we said, midweek games are kind of toss-ups. It just depends. The weather factors into it, but it
does. And I thought LSU could maybe even, because it didn't go from 5-4 just straight to 11-6, whatever. Louisiana Tech came back with a couple more, and then LSU had Jacob Berry up, and I thought he was going to maybe get some more runs on the board for LSU, but he just had straight warning track power only. Like, I was like, that's going to go, and then it did not.
Not part of. Yeah. So, tough loss, but this weekend they have a Friday-Sunday game versus Townsend at home. And then they're going to play at Southern at home on Saturday. So, some pretty easy games. But, I mean, Louisiana Tech was also supposed to be a pretty easy game. So, we'll see. But they should get some wins this weekend to come back from their tough loss last night.
Hopefully. Yeah. And then we move to NC State. So they swept their first series last week against Evansville. But what did they do in the midweek?
In the midweek, NC State, they demolished High Point. They literally won 18-3, and then they beat Longwood 19-3. So I hope they haven't, like, worn out their bats with these midweek games because, I mean, they have a pretty easy series coming up this weekend, but, like, holy shit, Paige. 18 runs one game, 19 the next. Just insane. And like we told you guys last episode, Tommy White, insane on offense for NC State. He'll be really fun to watch this weekend. And they're playing Quinnipiac in a 3-game series at home. So
I think it's Quinnipiac.
No, because my sister, trust me, I thought it was too, and people say Quinnipiac. I thought it was weird too.
Oh but my, wait, it's like Sacagawea and Sacagawea.
It's like, so you know how we say, what is it, Lebanon in Oregon? Like Lebanon, Oregon. Over there on the East Coast, it's literally called Lebanon. I was like,
That's how they say it down here too.
Kidding?
Like I live right next to Lebanon Street.
Yes. Yeah. So I would, I'm not even going to try. Quinnipiac is how I've heard it.
Okay.
But yeah, they're playing them. Should be an easy 3-game series. Like we said, NC State, I don't know. They're just a favorite that I'm drawn to this year, especially, we keep saying it, coming off of last year. But, like, they have showed up. Yes, they've had some pretty easy competition so far, but, like, they're showing up, and I'm here for it. And I'm excited to see them continue.
They've had some easy competition, and all of their games have been at home. So I'm excited to see. I mean, this weekend will also be at home, but I'm excited to see what they do after this weekend when they're on the road and if that poses any different challenge to them. Florida State swept their series against James Madison last weekend, so that has them ranked 10 by D1 Baseball. But they were one of the many teams that was upset in a midweek game. So they lost a close game to Jacksonville this week. It was 3-2. And this weekend they will play Samford at home.
Yes. Samford, not Stanford. I always get those confused. They sound so much alike, but vastly different teams. Next up, another Pac-12 fave. We have number 11, Arizona. They looked amazing this last weekend in the college baseball showdown. And they're looking like they're going to be great in the Pac-12 this season.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're another one of our sad losses that happened in a midweek game this week. They lost 19-3 to Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I haven't got to watch a whole lot of baseball while being here in Hawaii, so I didn't get to watch this game. But that's just, it just sucks. I mean, I know Grand Canyon is pretty decent in all the sports that they have, but 19-3, like, dang.
That's a rough loss. And I'm wondering, because a lot of times you drop a midweek game and you play well over the weekend, and then maybe it doesn't do much to your ranking and where you are in the rankings. But if all of these teams are losing these midweek games, what's going to happen to the teams that aren't losing midweek games? Like, I'm wondering if these midweek games will have more of an impact this week, because there's quite a few of our top 25 teams that have dropped that.
Exactly. No, I know. It'll be really interesting to watch and pay attention to those midweek games throughout the season. Because that's crazy. 19-3. But this weekend, they have 4 games against Milwaukee starting Thursday night going through Sunday. Should be a pretty easy matchup against Milwaukee, but we'll see. We'll see what Arizona brings to the table.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But 19-3, that's a beating.
So tough. I know.
So we'll see. All right. Then we have Long Beach State ranked at number 12th after beating Mississippi State last weekend. Like we said, the defending national champions.
Yes.
So yeah, they took 2-3 last weekend. They really moved some movement in their ranking because of it. This weekend, they are at home for the first time this year playing Sacramento State in a 3-game series. So Sac State, not a bad team, but just not a big team. So hopefully doable for
Long
Beach
especially State. Coming off of those Mississippi State wins against Mississippi State, like, I don't know, they've got to be feeling good. Long Beach State. I'm really excited about this team too. We love a good underdog, you know, and they're coming out strong. So
Long Beach State, I went to Long Beach State for a series one time.
Yeah.
And
I don't
remember. Well, I think my mom got hit by a ball, actually.
Oh, nice. Michelle, I'm so sorry. We know you're listening. Sorry to bring back that terrible memory.
I'm pretty sure that was at Long Beach State. It was sad. But I think she was fine. I think it had hit someone else first, actually, and then bounced up and then hit her. But Long Beach State, it was an interesting vibe. Different vibe. For baseball only, they're the dirt bags, and then for all other sports, they're like a different thing. And I was just like I don't know. I was like in high school. I don't really remember that much.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Also, I hate to go on tangents, but like we have to.
Yeah.
Paige, do you ever feel? I think it's so funny. I love baseball. I know baseball. I'm like, it is my thing. But I don't know, guys. I still fear sometimes sitting at a baseball game, especially when you're like right up along like the first baseline or like right behind home plate or third baseline, whatever it may be. I'm still afraid a ball might just smack me in the top of my head. Like, it's so like, I don't know.
Do you remember? Do you remember in college when a first baseman at Oregon State fell on us?
Yes. And that, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of traumatic. Like, you're not expecting it.
Well, I don't think that we were necessarily 100% there at that game.
We weren't. We were not.
Honest. And so we were just like having a grand old time. And then all of a sudden a ball is like popped straight up. And you and I were like, oh, didn't really think much of it until someone like the first baseman falls into our laps through the net. Like,
literally. Okay.
I cannot.
It's scary, but that's what I'm saying. And like most of the time people are enjoying themselves at baseball games. You know, enjoying a cider, a beer, whatever it may be. And it's like, I just cannot be on the lookout for a ball coming straight for me. So that's my one baseball fear. But you gotta be. You gotta be. Okay, moving on. What do we have next? Number 13, Notre Dame. Last week Notre Dame had 2 wins in their tournament and a single loss to Delaware. Kind of random, but 2 wins this weekend. They will be in Greenville, South Carolina to play Marist on Friday, Monmouth University on Saturday in a doubleheader. So Notre Dame has some pretty easy competition as well.
Yeah. I was like looking at this and I was like, huh. What is Monmouth University? Where is Monmouth University? Who is Monmouth University? I was just
Where is it?
know.
Did you look them up?
Yeah. I looked them
think-
up, but
aren't
there
they-
were a couple other teams that I was like, wait, who is this? And so now I think I might be getting them confused.
I think Monmouth is like Midwest or Eastern.
I think it's
verify.
like Northeast.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but I did not want to say New Jersey and then let's get to another team later and that would be like, oh wait, that was the New Jersey one.
That's them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair. Yes. So New Jersey. Monmouth University. Fun stuff. Okay, Paige, you want to talk about the Beavs and what they have?
I can talk about the Beavs. So we know they made moves after a 56-run weekend last weekend, defeating New Mexico and Gonzaga each twice. Yeah. They did not have any midweek games, and they are playing Xavier in a 3-game series starting right now, today, Thursday. Right now, well, the Beavs started off hot in the first inning with 4 runs.
Yes.
However, I'm looking at the box score right now, and it looks like Xavier scored 1 run in the second and just scored another run in the top of the third. So it's a game to be watching right now. Obviously, people are going to be not listening to us telling them to watch it right now in this moment. But I'm sure people are following along, and it is 2-4 right now, and we will stay here with updates throughout the podcast. Yeah. But yeah, so they will be playing Xavier in these 3 games. Xavier was 0-4 last weekend after playing Alabama. Their team batting average is .227 compared to Oregon State's .396. So offensively, Oregon State really just looks like a better team. They are leading Xavier in runs scored, in hits, in doubles, in triples, in RBI, in slugging percentage, and on base percentage. Both teams have 9 stolen bases. I think that might be different now.
Yeah, it could be.
But Xavier has more home runs with they have 6 home runs last weekend to Oregon State's 1 last weekend. However, today Wade Meckler scored a home run or hit a grand slam for Oregon State. So Oregon State now has 2. But still, Xavier's 6 is much more than 2.
Yeah.
On the mound, Oregon State also just looks more dominant, though. They have a better ERA, a lower opponent batting average. They have more strikeouts and fewer walks issued. So,
yeah.
I mean, I want to say should be a blowout, but
we don't know. You don't know. I mean, I think we came out strong with the 4 runs in the first inning, but we'll see. They also have sophomore right-handed pitcher Jaron Hunter on the mound. He was mainly a relief pitcher last year. He's starting for the Beavs today. 2 runs, it can happen. It's early on in the game. Who knows what'll happen?
I mean, 2 runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched, though. It's not great.
It's not great. It's not ideal, but we'll have to just keep following this game. See what happens. Now it's 4-2.
Yeah, 4-2 in the top of the third with 2 outs. So I will continue to give updates as I see scores change and moves happen. But yeah, we're looking at a 4-2 game right now.
Yes.
And it took some 4-2 to make it 4-2. Sorry. Sorry. I always want to say that. Okay, on Talking Baseball in the summer, Jake Sorielli always says that because they go through the scores, like the recap, really, really fast, and then they just go into what were the main important things that really happened. They don't really cover all the teams, just because there's not as many teams in Major League Baseball as there are in college baseball.
Yes.
But
1,000%.
when they're going through it really fast, he'll always say, and it took some 4-2 to make the game 4-2, and I'm like, oh my god. So.
You had to throw it in there. You had to. It was a perfect moment.
Okay, anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, we have number 15, Florida, which Florida is number 15 because they lost their opening series at home to Liberty last weekend, and now Liberty is ranked. So, fun stuff going on there. This week, Florida beat Stetson away. So at Stetson, 8-1. And North Florida at home, 3-1. So they got some wins under their belt midweek this week. So that's good. They're going into the weekend with some wins. They're going to play Georgia State at home. Now, Georgia State is unranked, but those Georgia teams, I don't know. Sometimes they just have a way about them. So they will need to pull some wins out and win this series. So, and if they don't, Paige, you put in here, definitely worried about their ranking. Will they still be in the top 25 after this weekend? If they win, yes, I think totally.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They got literally... They got beat by Liberty last week. And
They got beat by Liberty, and then if they get beat by Georgia State, I just think, they were already dropped down to 15. I don't know that they would move them completely out of the rankings. Maybe they would, though, because 2 losing series right away. They started out slow last year, too, though. So if you followed Florida baseball last year, you do know that they started slow then. It's just kind of scary to start slow before going into SEC play because the SEC is so dominant in college baseball. And so you really need to get some of those wins under your belt early and have that strong start before going into play these little scarier teams like LSU, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. But
definitely.
We'll see. Speaking of Georgia's schools, though, Georgia swept Albany last weekend at home and beat Wofford College 7-1 Tuesday night. This weekend they will play.
Akron.
Is it Akron or is it Akron?
Yeah.
I never know because I've never been to Ohio, so
it's Akron.
Akron in 3 games at home. It's in Ohio, right? Akron, Ohio. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as I'm thinking Akron, Ohio, where doesn't LeBron talk about Akron, Ohio all the time?
I think so. I think so. But I'm not a huge LeBron fan, I'll be honest. So sorry for losing some followers for that.
Sorry.
Okay. This weekend they will play Akron in 3 games at home with 2 of the games being part of a doubleheader on Saturday. So
yes, ma'am. And then we have number 17, TCU. They won 2 of their 3 games last weekend against San Diego State, Cal, and Houston. Their loss was to Cal, which we talked about in our last episode. Kind of sucks for TCU, but Pac-12 team. It was a good game. On Tuesday this week, they played Paige, you said this last week. Is it Stephen or Steven? It's Steven, right?
Yeah,
Stephen F. Austin. They won 11-1. Their game scheduled for Wednesday, though, against UTSA was canceled due to the freezing weather. Like we've continued to say, the weather's a little bit out of hand right now. Yeah. But this weekend, they're going to play Nebraska at Globe Life Field in Arlington. So that'll be a fun matchup against Nebraska.
I know. I'm excited. I really think I might go over for a game, see what happens, see how I'm feeling. But I've had a weird week, a busy week with work. Even though I don't have work today, it's been a strangely busy week, and we have like a test at my work this week that we have to take, and I've just been a little stressed about it. And so I'm like, maybe some baseball is the thing I need to help my
baseball in your life.
help my soul this weekend. So
totally.
I'm thinking it's the vibe.
Yeah.
All right. And with another Georgia school, let's talk about Tennessee because Tennessee swept Georgia Southern last weekend. They had a Tuesday game versus Tennessee Tech, which was suspended due to rain. So I was like, well, did this game start then? And I couldn't tell on the website. But when I clicked on the box score on the ESPN app, and as we have said, you cannot count on the ESPN app for anything college baseball related. But when I did click on the box score at the ESPN app, it said that the game left off 4-5, Tennessee ahead. But I'm not sure that is 100% true, and I could not find it online. But they did get their Wednesday game in against UNC Asheville. They did that one real nice and easy, 16-1 win, and they play 3 games against Iona at home this weekend.
Yes, so pretty easy series for Tennessee, and then we can't stop talking about Georgia. Georgia. Number 19, Georgia Tech. They were 3-0 after last weekend, but they lost their Tuesday night game this week, 10-6 to another Georgia school, Georgia Southern. But they won their Wednesday night game 17-7 against Presbyterian. So going into the weekend with a win and a loss. So just, kind of sitting right there in the middle. They have a 3-game series against Gardner-Webb at home this weekend. So, I don't know. Right now they're sitting at 4-1 then, huh? I think they should get 3 easy wins this weekend as well. And Georgia Tech should be
Yeah, I don't even know
solid.
who Gardner or who Webb is, so.
Separates the name. I don't know Gardner. I don't know Webb. Gardner Webb. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know Gardner. I don't know Webb. I don't know Gardner.
I don't know. But you'll hear from us next week. We'll see. We'll see how they do. Who knows?
We will. We will.
Yeah.
All right. Texas Tech was not looking very good last night in the college baseball showdown here in Arlington. They only won Friday barely in a close walk-off win to Michigan, go Big Blue. And then they lost to Auburn and real bad to Arizona. We know Arizona's good. We know they're showing up, but Tech did not look good against Arizona. And I mean,
Yeah.
they lost bad to Arizona, and then what? Arizona lost bad to Grand Canyon. So,
Yeah.
yikes. But they did play Dallas Baptist this week in Lubbock, and it was 8-4. So they got a win under their belt. So they are now 2-2 on the year, and they will be looking for some more wins when they play Kent State at home.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can find their rhythm, because if they don't, they're ranked 20th right now, and I do think it would move them out of the
Definitely.
top 25. So
Definitely. Then we have another team that entered into the rankings this week, number 21 Liberty, after they beat Florida this previous weekend. They played North Carolina A&T on Wednesday and won 12-2. Is that literally the full name of the school?
North Carolina A&T, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is also what happens with, well, this happens in any sport, but some of these smaller schools, I'm like, never heard,
Yeah.
which they won big on Wednesday, 12-2 against North Carolina A&T. The wins are not out of nowhere. Obviously, Liberty was a 3 seed in the Tennessee Regional last year, which was a pretty competitive regional. So I'm not surprised by Liberty coming out winning and being strong, but I'm excited. I'm proud of them. They're doing amazing. And this weekend they play at Winthrop in 3 games at home. So there should be a chance for them to get another 3 solid wins under their belt. And who knows, maybe even move up a little bit in the rankings next week.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens.
We'll
I don't
see.
know how much they're going to move up playing just Winthrop, but it really happens with what the other teams are doing.
It depends on exactly the teams a little bit up above them.
Right. And speaking of one of the teams up above them is Oregon State, and Melton just homered. And so that's our second home run of the game, and the score is now 2-6.
Love
So
that.
there is some movement happening, and it looks like we have runners on first and second in the bottom of the third.
Yes.
All right,
Beautiful.
but another team that is now in the rankings this week is Maryland. They are ranked after sweeping Baylor in Waco. Keep in mind, Maryland was another one like Liberty that's not just out of the blue. Maryland made the East Carolina Regional last year also as a 3 seed. This week, Maryland played the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and beat them 3-2. That was one of the ones I told you I had to look up. Because I was like, what is UMBC? And I was like, that's British Columbia?
Well, I know
Maryland.
the county part in there, Baltimore County. It's like
Yeah, so the name of the university is University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So that's who they played this week. They won 3-2, which is kind of concerning. It's a close, low-scoring game. But this weekend, Maryland goes to Campbell for 3 games. Campbell had just lost their first series to Appalachian State, and they played East Carolina in a midweek game, and they, yeah. But anyway, so Maryland is going to be playing Campbell this weekend.
Yes. And then we have number 23 Duke, who played VMI last weekend. They did lose their first game, but came back and won the Saturday-Sunday games to take the series. They also beat Appalachian State this week, 8-5 on Tuesday. So doing pretty solid, and they're going to play a 3-game series against Baylor this weekend in Waco. So that will be a fun one to watch between Duke and Baylor.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. As we said, Baylor was just swept at home by
Yeah.
Maryland. So it'll be fun to see if Duke can kind of do the same thing to Baylor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Number 24 is Miami, Florida. Last week they beat Towson. Towson. All right. Beat Towson last weekend, scoring double digits in each of the 4 games. So they really just kind of kicked the shit out of Towson. They also played FAU on Wednesday and won 9-1. This week they just play Harvard at home. So
Yes.
Hey, I just met you. Isn't that Harvard that did that? That did
I
that
have
video? Do you
no
remember
clue.
that? You
Oh,
don't
yes,
remember that?
they did. Yes. Their baseball team did. The Harvard
Their baseball team did that. Like,
Yes.
hey, I just met that one, and this is great. Yeah.
Atlanta, dude. How long ago was that? That's like
I don't know. I was probably 12.
really, really long time ago. But yes, easy game against Harvard. We'll see. And then we come, last but not least, to number 25, East Carolina, who we are really watching. They got swept by Bryant last weekend, like we talked about in our previous episode. Really just kind of sucks for East Carolina. So they beat Campbell, though, in a midweek game on Tuesday, 10-3. So they've got a win under their belt this weekend. They will play North Carolina with the first 2 games at North Carolina and then the Sunday game at home. I think this one will be very interesting to see how they do against North Carolina. These are 2 great teams. I mean, East Carolina's a really good team. I don't know what happened against Bryant this previous weekend. But
yeah, I don't know, but I don't think that we should ignore Bryant. Like,
exactly.
They swept East Carolina. So while they're not in the 25, I think they're worth mentioning. Yeah. They play Davidson this weekend on the road. So I would love to see if they can do some of these. Keep it up. Do some of the things. Are there any other schools, Mackenzie, that aren't in our top 25 because we have made it through that you just want to maybe give a shout out to, or you have like watched a game or have been following or have noticed they're just off to a good start?
That's a great question, Paige. And you know what? I will say we were going through our ESPN app that we're not super happy about. And I was just checking out the games that are to come. And I've seen a lot of Ivy Leagues are in the mix this weekend playing some teams like we said, the Harvard game. But one that I saw, I was like, oh my gosh, is that Darty in there? My little sister goes to Dartmouth on the East Coast in New Hampshire, and it looks like Dartmouth has a Saturday game. Let me verify who they're playing. I gotta find them. They're kind of low in the mix. Let's see. Scrolling. Of course, whenever I want to go look for something, I can't find it. It's just the way it works out.
This happens, you're like, well, when I finally want to pull this up and I want to show someone quick, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay, but I did find it, and why I was interested is they play Louisville, however you want to say it. That's one of the ways too, which I feel like will be a really good game. And also, Dartmouth does have a decent program. I don't know about this year, but I do know, like, when my sister was like a freshman a few years ago, they had a pretty decent baseball program. So it'll be an interesting, fun game to watch too on the ACC network. Is that what that says? Yeah. So that was the only one. There's a lot of games happening this weekend. Just a lot of teams that we didn't even get to mention outside of the top 25. Lots of games going on this weekend. So.
Yeah, I think one team I want to give a shout out to is A&M. Finished real rough last year in the SEC, and that made me sad because I just want A&M to be good at baseball. I love Texas A&M, and they have started off their season 4-0. They swept Fordham at home last weekend, so that was awesome. And then this week they played a midweek game against Lamar, which they won 9-2. So I'm excited to see them. They're one of the teams that's not in the top 25 that had a rough season last year, but I'm hoping can turn it around this year, and they will play Pennsylvania this weekend at home. So
love that. Yeah. And then it also looks like San Diego State and Utah have a matchup this weekend. Another Pac-12 team in San Diego State is always great to watch in baseball. And Oregon, my little Ducks, who are nowhere in the rankings, they are playing St. John's this weekend. So if you're interested in that little Ducky action, they do have games this weekend as well. So
that's awesome. All right, well, We are going to sign off, but I will leave you with right now in the bottom of the third, Oregon State is beating Xavier 8-2.
Love to see it.
Check in. We can't give you the final score for it because we're only in the third and we are signing off. But have fun watching baseball this weekend.
Yes.
There's so many fun, exciting things happening. I think Saturday you really got to watch.
Saturday, especially.
Arkansas and Stanford. So
1000%. And we will be back on Tuesday with your guys' weekend update. So yeah.
Yes. And please rate us 5 stars. If you want to be following along with video, you can be I have flowers here because it was just my birthday. An entire rose just plumped
Just dropped
off.
over.
just fell off. Anyway, if you are listening on Spotify, you can also find us now on YouTube to see us with video. Hopefully we will start going live. And so if you do that, please subscribe on YouTube.
Absolutely. And also, I want to give a shout out to all of our new followers on Instagram, new people listening to our podcast, Paige and ICU, and it's so appreciated. So thank you, everybody, and we're excited. Have a fabulous weekend.
Have a great weekend watching baseball.